Well, hello everybody. It's Guthron, and I'm coming from you from, what did you call this place again? New Isengard?
New Isengard.
New Isengard, just south of Frankfurt. I'm actually here visiting Dimmer, and here, let me do a little switch here. Say hi, Dimmer.
Hi, Dimmer.
There he is. See, he exists. He's a real person. He's not just a figment of my imagination or some weird, voice
Or
that I'm
some
doing.
Twitch bait.
A Twitch, yeah, there you go. Twitch bait. There you go. So, what are you playing?
D3 today.
Specifics?
New season. Season 14. Season of Greed.
Greed, huh? What are you running?
Just started a Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter? My favorite. I'm always partial to Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I haven't played one in a while, and I'm interested in the Marauder build that's being raved about, so I'm going to try and put that together.
Fun. Okay. I'm taking you off camera. You don't have to pretend, anymore, okay?
Be interested.
Yeah. All right, there I am. Oh, and I forgot to bring my hat. I forgot to bring everything. I was actually originally, the plan was for me to actually do a stream from here, to do our normal stream, but there were complications getting from where I was to where Dimmer's car was, and I ended up having to walk. So, to give you guys an update, I attempted to do a stream earlier this week, and it didn't go so well in terms of the frame rate. I got dropped tons and tons and tons of frames. So even though the hotel internet says that it can handle, it can't really. So I'm going to try doing them at different times. Unfortunately, that means for US audience, it's going to be a little bit weird trying to find a time that I can stream that you guys can watch. But we'll see. What we can pull out of our what to do that. At the very least, I'm going to come down here to Dimmer's and set up and do our community stream at least 2 Saturdays of the months that I'm here. Dimmer has been kind enough to share his house. Everybody say thanks, Dimmer. Thank you, Dimmer.
Thank you, Dimmer.
No, you're supposed to say you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay. So that's the plan. At the very least, you'll get 2 of those. They'll be community, so like we normally do, playing some games. We'll see if we can get Grumpy to join us. As for Golgoth, he's still, banished to mid, so that'll be a little more complicated. However, if the best streaming time for me happens to be a time when Golgoth's awake, maybe he'll be able to join me more often from if I stream from the hotel. So you can count on at least a couple for sure over the next 4 months. Hopefully I'll be able to find a time when I can stream from the hotel and do so a little more actively. But yeah, other than that, I am in Germany, in case you missed that. So I'm here because the Air Force told me I had to come here for 4.5 months, except for the 2 weeks around Labor Day when I go to Dragon Con. So other than that, I'll be back other than that, I'll be here. Slaving away, learning how to do this new job that the Air Force has for me. Or when I'm not doing that, I'll be up here bugging Dimmer. Right, Dimmer?
Right, Dimmer.
Right. He's in a mood. He's just returned. Why don't you tell us where you came from?
I've been in the Arctic Circle.
He was up there getting sunburned while in the frozen wastelands of Earth.
I was in the most northerly point of continental Europe. Place called Nordkapp, Norway.
Nordkapp, Norway. Yes, what was that town that you messaged me from?
Tromsø.
Tromsø, yes. At that point, he was almost as far north as my dad was when he did a 1-year remote tour in Thule, Greenland. Go have fun looking that one up on the map. 11 months out of the year, you can't even get a boat in that place. And they have a highway that goes across the bay. And they have, on the main road that goes around the bay, every 25 feet they have emergency shelters in case a blizzard comes along, because you lose visibility up to that much. So that's where he's been. He's been gallivanting. You've been gone for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and while he was gone, I moved. Well, temporarily moved. So then I'm here and I can see him.
Now he's mooching off of me.
Yes, I'm mooching off of him. I'm stealing his internet and sleeping on his bed. Although I would have been perfectly happy letting him rest, because he literally got off the airplane Was it a taxi or a train?
Taxi.
Took a taxi to his house, got in his car, and drove down and got me and brought me back up. And that was, what, 3 hours out of your day?
Yeah.
After being on vacation. Well, I mean, I guess you could say he was resting the whole time. He didn't need more rest, but... And then he got down there, and he couldn't even get to where I was because there was a protest going on.
Your faithful streamers needed...
They needed me somewhere where they could actually see my face and not just hear my voice.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with the test stream. They could hear perfectly fine. They just couldn't watch. But hey, MS was faithful. He stayed there the whole time. It was very nice. Very nice of him.
Thank you, MS.
Yes, MS is a pillar in the community. Oh, look at that. See, never done this on this mobile thing before. I'm using the Streamlabs, their app to do this. It's actually quite functional. I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot of different little bells and whistles you can do in there. Being able to switch to the camera is nice, so I can show who I'm talking to. It gives me a lot of the same functionality that I would get if I was using the program on my computer. Grab my iPad here for a second because I need to open up something. Now, even though we aren't streaming it, there's some game playing is going on. He said he's playing Diablo. Earlier, he was playing Terraria. He showed me this lake that he built, which was basically him draining the world's oceans so he could have a place to play in water. You and water. You love your water. What is it about the water?
I'm thirsty.
You're thirsty, so you just put all the water in the same place?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm moving a
The
keyboard.
world's coming to an end. I need to afford all the water I can.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So.
It's not crazy at all.
What? That looked weird. I actually see my stream. Hold on, I'm looking. What's going on? Okay. Enough of that. Go back. No. Stop doing. This app is fighting. Hours late on the normal stream, but then I think a couple hours ago. What were we doing a couple hours ago? I was talking to your wife. See, Dimmer's not only a real person. Dimmer's wife is a real person. She's not made up. She's a very, very nice person. She had corn nuts waiting for us and everything, and water. And she asked lots of questions. It was really nice.
She doesn't play games.
She doesn't play. Hey, we got her to play a game once. Remember?
Yeah. Now she doesn't. She talks nonstop about how not cool that once was.
That once was. Oh, but it was so much fun. You had fun.
Yeah.
You had fun.
I'll play in.
Look, there's that everyone could see. There's his nice big monster that I got for him. They don't have that size over here. That one I had to get from the PX. Are you enjoying your monster?
It's huge.
Yes, it is. Hey, Brian's Republic. Guten Tag. How are you doing? I have not been able to catch your chess stream. That was always a pleasant way to spend my afternoon, listening to you play the wump 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 while you're playing chess. Oh yes, what did it correct it to? Oh yes, it's not Guten Tag, it's Gluten Tag. Gluten Tag. Good job, autocorrect. How are things you're in Mountain Time Zone, aren't you? So it's like 1:30 in the afternoon there. Am I right? Or are you on the West Coast? I could have sworn you're in Mountain Time Zone though. So everybody is watching, you should definitely check out Brian's Republic. He plays chess 3 afternoons a week, and he plays lots of Final Fantasy. That's how I found him. He was playing Final Fantasy IX in his basement. It was back before you got your green screen. Your green screen was on a mule's back somewhere lost in China. I remember the joke. How is Mrs. Republic doing? Oh. But yes, what was that? It was Star Trek, the Star Trek card game. That was what we were playing, right, Dimmer? I did bring that.
I like it.
I was actually going to get because we played the first edition. I was going to get the second edition games. Get a second edition 2 decks ready for you and I to play. So that's something we could definitely set up and like set up the computer in a way that we could have the webcam pointed at the table and we could play it.
Yeah.
There's a version of it you can play in the tabletop simulator, but it's really janky. I haven't quite figured out how to make it work. I wish someone would make a what do you call it, a a port of that, but it's not popular enough. I know they just released a new Magic the Gathering one. I watched the game mechanic play that he did a 24-hour birthday stream. Why would you do that to yourself? It's my birthday. I'm going to play video games for 24 hours for no other reason. I get doing them for something like charity or something like that, or hey, maybe you hit like 500 or 1,000 followers. Are you gonna go to Disneyland? That's what
For
you're.
my birthday.
Yes, you are. We are all going to Disney. We're going to Disney World.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, she's doing well. That's good. How's the move? I know you were moving, Brian's Republic. Did you get the move? No, you did Risk yesterday on IRL Twitch. Really fun. Nice. Cool. You like an actual physical board game? Everybody there? Who all was playing? Did Mrs. Republic join you? I haven't played Risk in forever. When was the last? I think the last time I played Risk, I played the Lord of the Rings Risk, and I played it and we used the One Ring in it because it limits the length of the game, because you have to end when the One Ring makes it to Mordor. So and whoever has the most territories when the One Ring reaches Mordor, then the game's over, and whoever that person is wins. I like that. I remember playing Risk on the computer. It's an older version of it that I still have the CD for. That's how old it was. I loved playing that version of it. Yep, Mrs. Republic and Friends. Cool. Did you win? Did you conquer the world, or did Mrs. Republic rule over all? My money's on Mrs. Republic winning. So, but yeah, I was thinking that I brought those cards just so we could play Dimmer.
That's cool.
So we'll have to set it up. We'll definitely need to improve the lighting if we're going to stream that. So I have the camera. A camera show. It won't be very extremely detailed, but we'll be able to tell everybody. They'll be able to see what we're playing. But I do have. I know that they have. Oh, your brother did. Well, Mrs. Republic let your brother win. That's nice of her. That's really nice of her. To not dominate you guys like we know she would have. So. Oh, the camera's pointed at me, by the way. Oh, here. Let me flip it around so you can do that again. There you go. Do it again. He smiled. Oh my goodness, he smiled. Look at that. Dimmer smiled. So, how's your Diablo run going?
I'm dying.
You're dying? Oh, he's dying. Let's go over here and look. No. Let's go over here and look. Let's go over here and look. Are you dying?
I'm getting close to.
You're getting close to dying? Don't stand in the green stuff. Hey, stop standing in the green stuff. Don't you know? Don't stand in green stuff.
Yeah, but
that's like the first rule of these of Blizzard games. Don't stand in the poop. Which part are you at?
I am
the Gardens of Hope. First tier.
Act 4. It's the last of 5 bounties.
The last of 5.
These little mini quest things to do a bounty.
I've told he likes to play this game, and I've told him I will play it with him, but on one condition: I'm there to die. Burn it. Yeah. Kill it. Oh, he said kill it. Kill it. Let it die. See me when I play that game. It's just one thing: me running around going, "I'm gonna die. They're killing me." And Dimmer, he thinks it's funny to let them kill me. He thinks he gets a big kick out of it.
Everybody gets a big kick out of it.
Cats are jerks. Gaming on a Mac. Pfft, noob. Yeah, he's very stubborn about this. He won't switch to PC, which makes doing multiplayer games with him complicated because it's limited.
I don't want my operating software to crash. I don't want my operating software to require an update every other day, and I don't want my computer to crash, and I don't want to have
said
to
that
invest
twice.
in antivirus software because I don't actually need it.
Tell us how you really feel. He
Let's go
really
Mac
doesn't
and
like
go
PC.
back.
You say that, but my parents went Mac and then went back.
Yeah. It's your parents. They're weird.
I was shocked when they went Mac. So, how are you doing, Cats Are Jerks? I know you disappeared for a long time. Life got really busy for you. It's good to see you. I saw you in Game Mechanics stream during his 24-hour stream. He does that to himself, and then the whole time he's like, why am I doing this to myself? But at least this time he did more than just play Civ. He did a lot of Magic the Gathering. Grumpy would have been happy. He would have enjoyed it. I think it. Yeah, I said it earlier. They just released like a new beta of the Magic game that's out, and he played a lot of it. It was interesting. Unfortunately, I mean, during this first play of it, I wasn't able to pay attention as much as I wanted to because I was dealing with the whole someone stole a hard drive out of my computer thing. You just trying to stay cool. How about you? It's not that warm here, but the Germans don't believe in air conditioning. But I live in an American hotel and it has AC, so it doesn't bother me. So yeah, he loves his Magic, but I think he enjoyed playing that version last night. I think he still prefers playing it in person with the actual physical cards. I've only ever played one game of Magic, and I swore I would never play it again because I had doubled my HP, and I had the other guy down to 1 or 2. I think it was like 1 or 2 HP, and in 2 turns he won.
Oh.
2 turns.
You don't have a problem building an Enterprise unique crew, and you always win at Star Trek.
I lost that game. The last time I played that game was with you two, and she won.
No, she didn't. You did.
No, I didn't win. She won. I can go back and find it in Facebook.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and unfortunately, cats are jerks. Thanks, thieves are the worst. I ended up dreaming all night last night. Every dream I had was about being robbed. Every single one. It was a very tense night of sleep. I slept, but he believed in the heart of the cards. You say that. I was watching Radiant Being, another good streamer, very good community guy, playing the Kingdom's Hearts Chain of Memories game. I never finished that one. I started it, but I never finished it. I don't remember why. I think I got distracted with something else. I should go back. I have what he's doing. He's playing the remixes on the PS. I think he's doing them on the PS3 because he's getting ready to get a PS4. I have those on the PS3. I started actually doing there's a Zoe and I were playing through them, and then my PS3's Blu-ray thing just stopped working. It would read DVDs, but it wouldn't read Blu-rays. So I had to get a new PS3, and I did the whole I saved everything up so I could transfer it over, and everything transferred over except for the Kingdom Hearts save, and I was pretty far in. It could be you cats are jerks. It could be. I'm doing this over wireless, so but it seems like the quality's okay. It's better than when I was in the hotel. In the hotel, you could hear me perfectly fine, but you couldn't see me. Oh, and the frames just dropped. So see, it may not be you. It may be me. I'm going to give it a second. Give it a second. Try to catch up. There we go. Now the signal's back. Good. There we go. Back up to regular frames per second. So, yeah, and I was pretty far into that play. I had just finished... what was that? I just finished Ariel's World, so we were on our way to the best one, to Halloween Town. Oh, I'm glad it's better for you now, cats are jerks. But we did have a frame rate hit while you were doing that, so could have been both. But yeah, we were just about to head to Halloween Town. Probably my favorite part of that first game was Halloween Town. And I was really looking forward to it, and then that happened, and I'm like, oh, so I should. And I think I had already. I can't remember if we streamed up to that point. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my YouTube. But if not, maybe when I get back, Zoe and I could do that. She wants to see it, and they're getting ready to make the new one. That might be enough to convince me to save up to get a PS4, but generally I get consoles a generation or 2 behind. The only reason I have a Nintendo Switch is because my mom was very nice and got it for me. Right before Extra Life. It was a birthday slash Christmas, because my birthday is pretty close to Christmas. I'm like, Dimmer, this question has come up a couple of times. Let's switch back to him. Dimmer, when is your actual birthday?
Christmas.
It is around Christmas.
Sure, why not? Let's make it Christmas.
You're like me. Say mine is a couple weeks after Christmas. They are very expensive, cats are jerks. These new consoles
my
are.
Birthday.
I don't need the exact day. Like time of year.
When I'm in Disney World.
So when we go to Disney World.
Yeah.
So we're talking November, fall.
Yeah, the whole week. It takes a week to celebrate my birthday.
I'm not talking about when is your celebration.
Oh.
Is your actual birthday that time of year?
Sure, why not?
Are you a fall baby, a winter baby, a spring baby, a
Well,
summer
it depends
baby?
on which country you're in. If you're in Australia, I'm a summer baby.
So you're a fall baby right now, a winter baby.
I'm a summer baby.
You're a summer baby. Yeah, but you have Canadian citizenship, right?
I have Australian citizenship too.
Yes. So you're both a winter and a summer baby.
That's right. At the same time.
That was entirely too complicated. So that means he was born sometime between December 21st and March 21st, because that's when winter actually is. For them. He's specific. Cats Are Jerks likes you. You're specific. It's got to be exactly right. Yes, you are right. He is a summer baby in one part of the world. He's a winter baby in the rest.
Australia doesn't have spring and autumn.
You don't. You just have summer.
Yep, summer and cold.
Summer and cold. Well, you can be cold in the middle of summer at night.
No.
If you get the right wind.
No.
Yes, you can.
No.
I lived in the high desert. You can be cold in the winter.
That's what you know.
I lived in Vegas also. Vegas is like I loved it because I would only go there for Christmas sometimes and sometimes in the summer. But at Christmas, when you go there, you could walk out in your shorts and a t-shirt and be comfortable.
Cool.
That's a very warm winter. That's the opposite of where I grew up, 200 miles south of the Arctic Circle. So Brian's Republic, he's from Canada, but he's.
Yay! Go.
I think
Ottawa.
I think we had this discussion.
Oh wait, he's from Ottawa.
I think he is from near Ottawa. No, he's from Mountain Time Zone, isn't?
Or Hull. Is he from
No,
Hull?
Ottawa is in what would be central. Ottawa's over closer to Michigan, isn't it? Yeah.
Ottawa's the cap in Ontario. Yeah.
But I think he's originally from the Philippines,
That's.
so closer to your neck of the woods.
Yay.
Although I think in the Philippines he was closer to my parents in Okinawa than he was to you in Australia.
He's an islander.
Yes, he's an islander. You're technically not an islander. Australia is a continent.
It's also the largest island.
It's a continent. New Zealand is an island. Tasmania is an island. Australia is a continent.
It's girt by sea. It has to be an island.
All of them are. Technically speaking, they're all surrounded by water.
No. Europe and Asia are joined.
Yes, but they have water all around them. They're one big giant island.
Yeah.
Actually, really, if you think about it, they're just one really big high plateau,
That's exactly right.
which is what Australia is, a very high plateau.
Yeah.
Whereas New Zealand is like a very high mountain. A very big, very high mountain. Cats Are Jerks. Australia is nope land. Too many spiders. I agree. I agree. There is too many things. Okay. I have a goal, a lifetime goal of running a marathon on 6 continents because I'm not doing Antarctica. That's not happening. But it involves going to Australia. And the problem with Australia is that everything there is trying to kill you. Am I wrong, Dimmer?
No. Well, sometimes. But not today.
Okay, I didn't ask if I'm right all the time. I asked you, am I wrong about most things in Australia are trying to kill you?
No.
Natural things.
You are not wrong.
Okay, there we go. See? So, Dimmer verified. You are correct. Too many spiders is right. There's spiders and snakes and all kinds of other things that just want you to die.
And drop bears.
And what?
Drop bears.
Drop bears.
Yes.
As in the animal bear.
As in the animal bear.
Why are they called drop bears?
Because
Hold on, let me put you back on the camera. There you go. Why are they?
Because they perch in trees and then they drop down on top of you. They're carnivorous.
All bears are carnivorous.
No.
This is true.
Pandas.
Pandas are
Not carnivorous.
Yes. Well, bears. The thing is, bears subsist on a lot of different things.
Yes.
But they are meat eaters, except for pandas. You're right. They eat bamboo, but that's the exception.
Yeah. They're vegans.
So these bears, drop bears, are just bears that live in trees and drop on people.
They drop on their prey.
Their prey. Well, how big do they get?
Uh,
Cats Are Jerks. I just googled them. The thing looks like a vampire.
Yeah.
Is this accurate?
Yeah, uh, I guess a really large medicine ball.
Really large medicine. Great, I'm gonna have to look this up later. A really large medicine ball. See, if I was at my computer, I would just pull up a picture and throw it onto the stream.
Yeah,
But this is mobile.
but you can't.
I can't. So I'm gonna have to go with you. So it is a medicine ball that looks like a vampire. Got it. I'm gonna start looking for a furry animal that's round and has like fangs
And
sticking out.
don't mistake it for a wombat. That's different.
Well, that's a marsupial.
Yes.
See, I know that much. Okay, Dimmer, have you ever had an encounter with a kangaroo that
Yes.
didn't go well?
It died.
Okay, so it didn't go well for the kangaroo. I meant for you.
No. Well, no.
No?
No. They're pretty, they're not very intelligent.
Well, their brains aren't that big.
Well,
I hear they pack quite a kick.
Yeah, I hear that too.
So this kangaroo that died, did you kill it?
No, my friend did. We ran it over.
Oh, that's a bad encounter with a kangaroo.
They're like deer, but
Well, yeah.
unlike deer, your car survives after you hit them.
Yeah, they're not as big as deer.
Yeah.
Well, if you hit a moose, you're not going to survive. They live in Australia. How intelligent can they be?
Oh, I see.
Okay, cats are jerks. We have to ask now, where are you from? We've got a Canadian, an Australian. He's an Australian and a Canadian. Brian's Republic is a Canadian from the Philippines.
We're talking about Australia, not America.
I'm an American who was born in Germany and lived a good portion of my life outside of the U.S. I actually feel more at home outside of the U.S. than I do in the U.S. I've lived in Germany multiple times, and Korea, and Alaska, which is part of the United States, I realize, but is not considered part of the continental U.S. Even though it's still technically on the continent. That's the thing. In Alaska, we just call it the lower 48. Everyone else calls it the continental U.S. Well, technically, Alaska is connected to the continent. It's just separated by America's hat.
Yeah, and a big country called Canada.
That's America's hat. Alaska is a part of America's hat. I'm referring to the continent, not the country. Alaska and Canada are America's hat. Mexico is America's intestine. Cats Are Jerks is Canadian. Okay, so Brian's Republic is from mountain. What would be mountain time
If
zone?
he didn't spell it with a K, he's lying.
He spelled it with a C.
Yeah.
So I guess you're lying. Cats Are Jerks. So, which time zone are you in, Cats Are Jerks? Or if you want, you could give us this Do you guys call them states?
Provinces and territories.
Provinces and territory. You can give us the province or territory, but don't be any more specific than that. You wouldn't mind moving to Alaska for the summer?
Ooh, he might live in Whitehorse.
Well, I lived near Fairbanks, so I think within 50 miles of there is the place that holds the record for in the single calendar year having the highest temperature. It's like up in the 90s down to like 70 below. It's like the highest, the biggest swing in temperature in a single calendar year. Eastern time, he's in Hamilton.
Ooh.
What's so big about Hamilton?
Well, it's where there's a football team there.
Okay, are we talking football or American football?
CFL.
Because
Gridiron.
so Canadian football.
CFL, yeah.
Yeah, CFL.
Tiger Cats, I
The
think.
Tiger Cats. Okay. I don't know who won it's the Grey Cup. Who won the Grey Cup last year?
Hopefully the Lions.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
As in okay, you have to be specific because there's a Lions American football team.
The CFL, there's only one Lions team.
There's only one Lions team in the NFL.
You asked who won the Grey Cup, and I'm pretty sure that the NFL can't win the Grey Cup.
Yes, but which city?
BC. It's not a city. It's
So
BC.
the British Columbia Lions. You that's who you root for. That's your team.
Yeah.
How about you, Cats Are Jerks? Do you have a CFL team? And Brian's Republic. If you're not lurking there, let us know what's your favorite CFL team. I don't know any of the CFL teams, so I don't really have a favorite one. But I mean, I know that there's 12 teams, or is it more than that? I follow the NFL. I have a team that I root for, but I don't talk about it because I like football in general. And when people find that you're a fan of a team, they stop listening to you because they think, oh, you're just a fan. Like, no, I like the sport. But okay, so here we go, Dimmer. Which do you prefer? Canadian football, which is basically American football, or football?
Neither.
Neither?
No.
You're not a big sports fan, are you?
I'm a real football fan.
Yeah, football.
No,
That's what I meant.
Rugby union.
Oh, you like rugby. Well, yeah, but you have to say rugby.
Rugby union.
Because rugby is different from football.
It's
It's in some ways it's much more interesting.
yeah.
But are we talking Australian rugby or British rugby?
It's rugby union is rugby union. All those same around the world.
All the same around the world? But what's the difference between that and say Australian rugby?
There's in Australia. There's 3 different types of rugby played. There's Aussie rules.
Aussie rules, okay.
There's National Rugby League, which is the same rules around the world, and then there's Rugby Union,
Okay.
which in Canada and the United States is just called rugby because you guys don't have
The other ones.
great attention spans.
So what makes rugby union different from Aussie rules?
Padding.
They wear padding?
And
So they're safer.
no, in rugby union, you don't wear padding.
Cats are jerks. Don't really follow football that much. Ice hockey is the game. Who's your team then, Cats are jerks?
Canucks.
So you root for Vancouver, right? Have I got that right? I'm guessing. I used to be an Avs fan.
I don't think Hamilton has a team. The closest he could go for is Winnipeg.
What's their mascot?
The Jets.
The Jets. He's a Toronto fan, Maple Leafs.
Ooh, good call. I like an underdog.
You like an underdog?
Yeah.
I generally like underdogs also. So the thing about sports is here. Let me switch it back to me.
Who won the Stanley Cup this year?
The Washington, the Caps, I think it is.
Really? Oh man.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Because Vegas were on a roll.
They were, but I'm pretty sure Washington won.
Good for Vegas.
I know Washington was playing the Penguins. That was the last time. That was the last game I watched. It was a Washington Pittsburgh game.
Well, your Hamilton guy, he'll tell us who won the Stanley Cup.
Yes, Cats are jerks. Who won the Stanley Cup? You let us know. Here's the thing about sports. I like all sports, but if I'm gonna watch, it's gonna be I'll watch American football. I follow that one. I watch all those games, and I watch the Olympics because for one thing, it's only every 2 years. I just love the Olympics, but I watch playoffs. I like playoffs because you get the best stories and you get people's best performances in the playoffs. Yeah, Washington did. So hey, a team in Washington actually won because we know the Redskins aren't going to be winning anytime soon with the way Chainsaw Snyder is running that team. So, but yeah, playoffs. I like watching playoffs. What about you, Dimmer? Do you like watching playoffs?
Yeah. Except for the NFL.
Well, we already established that you don't like watching the NFL, even though the Super Bowl is the most watched sporting event on the planet.
Yeah, I like watching the ads for the Super Bowl.
Me too.
Because that's the best part.
They can be very entertaining. Unfortunately, sometimes the hype doesn't always live up. This year, you want to know which ad won for me? Tide.
Tide Pods, really?
Yeah, no, not Tide Pods. Tide. Because first off, they got Hopper, the guy from Stranger Things. He's the ad. He's the spokesman, right?
Yeah.
And his comment was, "What is this ad? We don't really." Basically, the thing was, "What is this ad? We don't know what this is. Is it a perfume ad? Is it a beer ad?" But like, no, it's a Tide ad. Look at the clothes. They're all clean. Everything's perfect. Is this an insurance ad? No. Is it a car mechanic ad? No. Look at his clothes. It's spotless. And then he gets to the end. He's like, wait a minute. Does that mean all ads are Tide ads? And that was the end of it. And the rest of the Super Bowl, every ad that came on, I was looking at their clothes and thinking, man, their clothes are clean. Tide nailed it. Every commercial became a Tide ad. That was, for me, brilliant marketing on their part. I thought. There was a couple others, but that's the one that stood out. And they had a follow-up one that was later. It was the same thing. It was a similar concept. I was like, good job, Tide. Did not see that one coming, because you always expect a beer commercial to be funny. You expect car commercials to be over the top because they're always over the top. GoDaddy always tries something outrageous. I think GoDaddy trying something outrageous has become a mainstay. Mountain Dew, I actually kind of enjoyed the Mountain Dew commercials and the Sprite commercials, with the guests that they had. So Morgan Freeman doing the voiceover one where he was the one talking, but he was singing someone else's song and it was their voice. There was two commercials that were like that, and they were paired together. One was fire and one was ice, and he was the ice one. I can't remember what the thing was. Pretty sure it was Sprite. Maybe it was Doritos was the other one. Some really hot thing of Doritos. Can't remember. But yeah, I actually didn't get to watch the Stanley Cup because we don't have. I mean, we have internet. We don't have. We have TV, but we don't use it. If we're gonna watch something, we're always watching it on the internet. Speaking of, what are you watching? Have you been watching anything lately, Dimmer? Obviously, you've been gone for 2 weeks, so exception for that. But prior to that, you been watching anything?
Yes.
Okay, what have you been watching?
I've got to catch up on Westworld because the season finished, but I recorded the episodes.
Haven't seen any episodes of Westworld, but I do know somebody who worked on the title sequence. Like he's a digital artist.
Okay.
Who's also working on Avengers 4.
Okay. But the second season of Westworld is pretty darn good.
I've heard it's good. It's just I haven't watched it. For one, it's on a network I don't have, and for another, it could have some potential interesting content.
I got through the first season of The Handmaid's Tale and loved it.
Oh, have you read the book?
Oh, please, not this again.
Have you?
No, I haven't read the book.
I don't care I'm not the whole thing. Oh, you need to read the book. Literally, in the book. If this tells you anything about the episodes, I haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale yet. Let me switch this back to me. Okay, so I haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale, but I did the audiobook version, which was starring Claire Danes. She was the voice. So first off, when I hear when I think of the main character, I think Claire Danes. Okay, so there's one thing that feels off for me. But second, you started watching Cats Are Jerks. I started watching Westworld, but got bored in the first episode. Well,
yeah,
you might.
No, it gets better at episode 5. Promise, absolutely promise.
So you might want to give a couple more episodes than one. First season, general is you want to at least give them half the season, because first season everyone's always figuring things out.
No, but the second season, you watch it and you go like, what's the point? I don't get it. But it all starts to make sense at episode 5.
Yeah, but he's talking about season 1, I think. Westworld season 1.
Oh, well, if you're not into science fiction, you won't like season 1.
So there you go. If you're not a sci-fi fan, you might not like Westworld. That's Dimmer's statement on it. Okay, anyway, back to Handmaid's Tale. So the first 2 episodes of Handmaid's Tale, right, sets up the world, and the second, and I've only read the description for it, but the description of the second episode is the baby that's born, right? In the book, that's half the book, getting from where you started in the first episode to what you got in the second episode. Nothing happens in that book. Nothing. It is all just about like the basics of the world. It's all world setup. It's all world building. Nothing happens. Almost which when I first saw they were making a series, I was like, which one are you talking about, Cats Are Jerks? Are you talking about Westworld, or are you talking about Handmaid's Tale? Handmaid's Tale, I may have to give it a chance. He says it's good, but he didn't read the book. The most interesting thing for me from the book was the follow-up where they had this, where she had this like fake symposium going on like 200 years later, where a historiographer was talking about how historians have been trying to figure out who the characters were and what happened to the handmaid. It was like this fake symposium, and that was the most interesting thing. So he's talking about Westworld. Yeah, definitely give it a try. Dimmer recommends it, and so I may actually try giving Handmaid's Tale. But I think honestly the reason why you like it is because they didn't follow the book. Because the book, nothing happened. Like the most interesting things that happened were the baby that was born, which was half. It didn't even start happening until halfway through the book. And then a couple of things that happened after that, which I don't want to give anything away. And the baby that's born isn't even from the main character. So, but yeah. Listen to the book. It was not. I have definitely read better that where things actually happened. So, so you're watching Westworld and Handmaid's Tale. I'm currently watching Daredevil. So, and I also started Black Lightning when I was on the airplane. I'm in the middle of watching because before when we were here before we couldn't keep up with things like Arrow and Flash and all that because they weren't available on Netflix. So we've been catching up on that. So
I'm interested in checking out this new series called Cloak and Dagger.
yes, that's actually a part of the MCU.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. So The Runaways is also a part of that. On Hulu though, if you have access to Hulu, The Gifted, that was a surprising. It's X-Men, but it's more following the mutant underground, and so like the X-Men aren't around, and they're not on the same. They're not in the same universe as the MCU because they're on a different Earth. It's explained in one of the. I can't remember where I read it, but I remember reading that because I was trying to figure out why the X-Men weren't around, what might have happened, how they were explaining it. And I think it was in one of the episode descriptions, but yeah, they're on a different Earth, like different universe than the one that the MCU is happening on. But that was actually really good. We watched that right before we finished it right before I came here. So and then I got here and I decided I was going to watch Daredevil because it's pretty violent. It's a TV show still, but the exploration of the hero quest with the intersection between that and Catholicism, the exploration of that is actually quite fascinating. So I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's some of the most interesting dialogue happens between the main character and a priest. So it's quite and since I'm currently my job is a chaplain assistant, I'm studying about privileged communication, what you can tell a priest that a priest can't talk about. It's interesting watching that happen on the TV show as I'm studying it, learning about it as a chaplain assistant. So I'm enjoying it. I really like the title sequence. I actually have some of the episodes downloaded on my iPad, so I can show you the title sequence later. I really enjoy it. I thought they did a good job with the song and the opening credits and stuff and what they do with it. It's pretty good. I think after I finish that, I'm gonna go back and watch. I have Jane the Virgin season 5 downloaded to watch. That is a hilarious show. And I have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe it's season 4 for Jane the Virgin. Whatever it is, whatever the next one was. And I'm currently watching. I have to watch through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5. That one actually, the end deals with supposedly explains a lot of what happened after Infinity War. It discusses it, so I'm looking forward to that part. Did you see Avengers Dimmer?
I did.
You did? Did you like it?
I did.
You did? Did you like it as much as you liked Wonder Woman?
I liked it more than I liked Wonder Woman.
Well, considering how much you liked Wonder Woman, that you could still have not liked it. There's a relative there.
Yeah. No. I did. I liked Avengers. It was clever, and I especially liked it because they showcased my car at the very end of the movie.
Yes. So I could tell when he watches it. What shows do you guys abhor? Oh, shows. What shows do you abhor? Well, we'll have to wait and see about Handmaid's Tale. I did not like the book. I made it all the way through, but TV shows wise, I don't like Game of Thrones. I've seen very little of it, but what I have seen of it, my issues with it all involve and again, this is where I'm going to go back to have you read the book. There are certain things that they've changed that are pivotal to character development. I mean, there were issues. I had major issues with the books, but then the TV shows came along and they just they doubled down on things that aren't in the book because they wanted to be HBO.
Yes.
And it served no purpose, and it got so bad that the cast of the show, the female cast of the show, threatened to stop doing the show if they didn't stop it. And since that point, the show has been entirely different. But set that aside, the character, how they treat the character of Sansa and what happens with her, is completely wrong. It's the opposite of the book.
Really?
Yes, because the way the last book left off, nobody knew where Sansa was.
Okay.
And in the book and in the TV show, not only did they bring her out of the eyrie, but they had something happen near her. It was kind of like it was meant to be subjectively happening to her. She had to watch it. None of that's in the book. It's not even in that happens to a character. That happens to another character in the book. That scene happens, and while that's happening, nobody knows where Sansa is because she vanished after the attack on King's Landing. She just disappeared, gone, up to the eyrie, and that's where she stayed. So when the last book ended, she had just finally made a public appearance at the town directly below the eyrie. So we're still way up in the eyrie, but where the fortress is, she had just made an appearance, and she was being passed off as somebody else. So, I mean, maybe some of that's coming later in this, like some of what actually ends up happening in the series. Okay. With her the battles later, so like that. Maybe some of that comes in later.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but you really need to watch it to get some sort of.
I've been following along the show. I because remember, it's on a network that I don't have access to. So I have a podcast that talks about it every week, so that I was listening to. So I'm pretty Golgoth and I have had several discussions about this on this along this line. So that's one. That's a show I'm not a big fan of, just because I'm not a big fan of the books because I don't consider them. I'll give him his credit where it's due. Game of Thrones, the author, he is really good at dialogue.
And he's really fat.
Well, I'm not going to pick on the guy for that. He's also really old
and lazy.
Do you know his writing process?
Yeah.
He writes on an old, 1970 era's word processor.
I have seen him on stage
and edits.
With, who was it? Stephen King?
Stephen King, yeah.
Yeah, I watched that interview. He's old, he's fat, and he's lazy.
And he's stubborn. He won't update to a modern word processor.
He reminds me of someone else I know.
So, Dimmer has stepped out, but yeah. So yeah, I agree. Cats are jerks. Dragons are extremely what's the word? Appealing. There's a reason there's dragons in my book, which, by the way, yeah, for those of you who are watching who don't know, I'm an author, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I have my own views on writing. I'll give you a link here if you want to check out my novel. It's on Audible. I'm actually editing the sequel while I'm over here to finish and get off to the editor so it can go to Audible. Sorry, I hope I wasn't covering the thing. I may have actually been, but there are dragons in my story because dragons, they are very appealing. The dragons in my story make sense once their origin is explained later in the series. So they're not just there because I want them there. So yeah, Game of Thrones, definitely the changes that HBO made and the things that they've done with it, I just wasn't a big fan of. I'm trying to think of other shows that I just straight up hate. Last Man on Earth, can't stand that show. Don't see the point of it. The humor does nothing for me. I don't like the characters. We'll see what else. Oh, okay. So everybody say hi to Arabella.
Oh, sorry.
Say hi. That's Dimmer's wife. See, she's a real person. We didn't just make her up. We were talking about you earlier. We were talking about the Star Trek game that we played.
Oh, right. Okay.
We did make her up. But anyway, she wants to know, because she's going to bed, what time do you want to go to Hope City?
And what time do you want to have breakfast?
I will probably wake up when fairly early because of the light. It's fine. So we can go to the first service. Sorry guys, we're talking about, what is it? Oh, hi. Oh, Cats Are Jerk says hi.
Hello. I don't know anyone now.
They're just the people watching while I stream.
Right.
Yeah, we can go to the early one. That way we're done and back in time to go to the thing.
With your car or with the bus? With the bus. With your car.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cats Are Jerks. Dimmer says you did well. You went up, and we both married up in the world. Let's just be honest. We married way above our league.
All right, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Go to sleep. Yeah, it is. It's like 10 o'clock at night over here, guys.
Good night.
I'm like all you Canadians.
Shut the door, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very Canadian audience today for you, Dimmer. Well, so yeah, Last Man on Earth. Not a big fan of that show. What about you? What's a show you've been watching that you just don't like? Dimmer. That's the thing though. If you, we're not going to bed. She's going to bed. If you, but if you're going to bed, good night, Cats Are Jerks. It's kind of early, but sure. See, that's the thing though. If you don't like a show, do you keep watching it? Generally, if I don't like a show, I don't keep watching it. So what's something you started that you just couldn't stand and didn't finish?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. What have I got that I really don't enjoy watching?
Yeah.
Blind Spot. I actually gave up on Blind Spot.
I'm not familiar with that one. What is that?
It's about a woman covered in tattoos.
Okay.
And each of her tattoos tells a story.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing something about that. Is that a Netflix one? I don't remember.
I was watching it on Prime. Another series I gave up on was Startup.
I'm not familiar with that one. I actually don't remember that one.
What else?
He's thinking. If you look closely, you'll see smoke.
I get really annoyed with some stuff, like American Gods. Brilliant first season, but it just keeps stalling and dying in the ass, and so when are they going to come up with a second season?
It's sad though because you got such good content material for that. That's the thing. It's some things that it's how you execute on it. Honestly, I thought that they might run into that with Game of Thrones, but they managed to get around that.
Here's a series I absolutely abhor.
Uh-oh.
Fear the Walking Dead. Oh my god, it is so stupid and lame and boring and retarded, like Lost. There's another series I absolutely abhor.
I've never actually watched Lost. I watched one episode of The Walking Dead and I couldn't stand it.
Everybody dies and then they spend 1 billion episodes working out that they're all dead.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I haven't watched it, but I know that much about it. I just couldn't, like, that was really popular when I first got in the Air Force. Everybody was watching it and I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. Are you happy you have a Dr. Pepper? He has an American Dr. Pepper. He's very happy.
It tastes so awesome.
See, me, I prefer the German version, but he doesn't.
It tastes like water.
He wants the one with the high fructose corn syrup, the one that's bad for you. So let's see what else. Okay, now here's a show that I hated at first, but over time grew on me, and it's a Canadian show called Schitt's Creek. It's on Netflix. But it's actually airing on a Canadian. That show is so funny. It is so. I couldn't. But at first, man, I hate it. Those people. You just want to hate them. After a while, they do start to grow on you, though.
There were two. There was.
They make you zombie shows make Cats Are Jerks nauseous. Sometimes, yeah.
There were 3 series that I struggled to get caught on, but I gave it my 5 episode.
Your 5 episode limit.
Before giving up on it. But 3 episodes that got me hooked by the 5th episode. One was The Expanse.
I want to watch that. I've heard nothing but good stuff about that.
One was Sense8.
Okay, they canceled that one.
Yeah, but the finale was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
That when they canceled that one, there was a huge uproar from the fans.
I know. I wrote them a letter.
So there you go. We have it. A real person who actually wrote the producers of a TV show a letter when they canceled his show.
I wrote the producers and I wrote Netflix a 10-page letter on why they should keep it.
Did you send it?
Yeah.
Nice. See, and just there's precedent for this. There's precedent. Yeah, Cat Sargex agrees with you. Expanse is the bomb. There's precedence for this. Farscape, when Sci-Fi, now Sci-Fi, which doesn't really show anything sci-fi anymore, when they canceled Farscape, they had such a reaction from the fans that they brought it back because the way they ended it, they canceled it, and so the people just ended it in a way that was designed to make the fans mad. And so Sci-Fi brought them back to do a mini series to fix it all and give them the ending that everybody wanted. So there is precedent. It does work if you get a large enough people. So what was the other one? So you said Expanse and Sense8.
And the third one was Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. Wow, yeah, that's a flashback. Man, I haven't watched Babylon 5 in forever. I never finished it. I was more a Deep Space Nine fan.
I've watched the whole all the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched all the main movies afterwards.
Did you watch Firefly?
Yeah, no.
You don't like Firefly?
I don't abhor it. I just don't like it.
Did you watch all of the episodes, like the 13 full episodes?
No. I got up to episode 5.
Oh, see, some of the better episodes are at the end. In fact, the last episode, which doesn't really feel like a last episode because they weren't expecting it to get canceled, it was one of the best episodes. Serenity's an okay movie, but Serenity was more of it was like a farewell letter, a love letter to the fans, and a hope that they could bring new fans in. I don't think they're going to at this point. I doubt they're ever going to restart Firefly. Cats are jerks. The best you're going to get is what they've done in comics. So, Joss Whedon and the people that own the rights to it, they could never agree. Joss Whedon and Fox, it's like a match made in hell. But he could never get away from them because they were always willing to put his stuff on. But that was a show that and what was the other show that he cut his teeth in? Buffy. Yeah, Buffy. Buffy first.
Is a god.
Yeah, but Buffy, the Fox, they tried to kill that show because they kept changing what night it was on. Back when it was back when it was actually possible to change what night a show aired, and killed it because people had a hard time keeping track of it. But it just had such a rabid fan base that people would figure out what night it was on and would still tune in. I liked Firefly, so I enjoyed it. Let's see. Here's one that was controversial, but I actually liked. Discovery. I liked Star Trek Discovery. I didn't have an issue with the changes they made to the Klingons because, frankly, every time they do a new Star Trek series, they change the Klingons. The change from the Klingons from the original series, beginning to the end, was a change. The change to them from where they were in the first movie to what they were in the third movie and in Star Trek Next Generation was a huge change. They added a bunch of prosthetics to it. And the other complaint, and this one goes back to a conversation Golgoth and I had, the language. If you've ever actually tried to speak Klingon, it does not matter if you're wearing a prosthetic face or not. It is a guttural, rough language to speak. And later in the series, they have a character who's not wearing prosthetics, speaking it, sounding just like the Klingons, and he still sounds just as bad and stunted, even though he doesn't have any prosthetics on. So, for me, that complaint is you're just trying to find a reason to complain.
I like Discovery.
I enjoyed it, especially the second part of season 1. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw where, trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible for now. I saw where they were going, like where they ended up. I saw that coming from a mile away. I suspected, but I never quite called the whole how the Lorca story went with his origin story and everything. I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't call it. That one, when it did finally come out, it was like, yeah, I should have spoken up. But it'll be interesting to see what season 2 is, especially since that show has been covered in controversy. They had the two, they lost their original lead, Brian Fuller, and then the two people that took it over were just let go because apparently they were extremely abusive to the writers.
Who? What?
Yeah, they were very verbally abusive to the writers.
Who would let go?
The people that were heading up Discovery. It was a male and female couple. Not like they were in a couple, but it was a pair leading it, and they just announced it recently. They were fired because they were verbally abusive, at least verbally abusive to the writers of the show. Created an extremely bad environment for them.
Which couple are we talking
I don't remember their names.
about? Burnham?
No. The showrunners,
Oh.
like the people who are behind the scenes running the show.
Oh, the Muckety Mucks.
Yeah, the muckety mucks, not the directors per se, but some of like the people that CBS put in charge. And I think that they were on one of the. I think I've actually seen them. Yeah, they were. There's a show. There was a show that CBS put on called After Trek, that you could watch on their All Access Pass when we still had access to it. We turned it off once we were done with Discovery. They brought them on there, so I'm pretty sure I remember seeing them. Who they were. According to the news stories, they were just extremely abusive towards the writers. Now, being a writer in Hollywood is a difficult job. Let's just. There's been plenty of shows about it.
Yeah.
It's a difficult job as it is. It's extremely demanding. Being a writer in any industry is extremely difficult.
And being a millennial in any industry is extremely difficult as well. Let's just put it out there.
Okay, which definition of millennial are you using?
Anyone born after 99?
No, that's not the definition of millennial. Technically speaking, the Gen X is the millennial generation.
No.
Yeah.
The people who entered the workforce in the last 10 to 15
No.
years.
You're talking. That's a different generation. This was hugely controversial. It came out like last year where they were discussing it. The characteristics of what was Gen X and what people don't like about millennials. It's the same thing.
What's that?
It's that they have such a hard time finding like purpose in life. Technically I don't fall in it, but some of the characteristics match. They have a hard time staying focused on a job, and they do not. The career is not the end goal for them, unlike the people the baby boomers from before them, where job was everything. But yeah, the 19 people born from 1980 to 2000 are millennials.
Oh, good. I'm not in there.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That line
Yeah.
blurs. So you could fluctuate that line 2 or 3 years either direction on the front end and the back end of that. So you could technically be a millennial and be born in 1978, 1977.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on your honestly, it's an individual thing. The characteristics they're describing are broad general characteristics. It's like a stereotype. Stereotypes are all based in some kind of reality. So the stereotype that people don't like about millennials, that's the stereotype that people don't like about Gen Xers. Gen X is basically become a name that's just not used anymore. But no one likes the term millennial because it's basically the term millennial has become a derogatory term used for anybody who can't keep a job.
Yeah. No. I mean, people who complain that they've been in their job for 4 months and they haven't been promoted yet.
Yeah, that's not millennial. That's the next generation after millennial, whatever they're calling them. I don't know what the term is now. I think it's still too early to come up with a name for them. Baby boomers they didn't come up with until like the 80s and 90s.
Whose parents, the generation whose parents felt it was important that everyone get a trophy, a participation trophy, so that there was no competition.
That's the baby boomers.
Because competition is what drives the entire planet.
Yeah, you're talking about the baby boomer generation. The participation trophy thing started in the 90s.
Yeah.
In the early 90s. In some areas, the late 80s.
But no, not the baby boomers.
No, they were the parents.
No.
The Gen Xers, the millennials made it worse. They doubled down on it. They didn't get rid of it. But the whole thing with pounding out of kids, the whole competition thing, that started when I was still in school.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I got pulled out to be homeschooled after the 5th grade, so I didn't get it as much. But that's another common element of the millennial generation is that boom started there.
Yeah. Okay. But participation trophy or
Mid 90s. That's when that became huge in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
That was for Gen Xers. Gen Xers were just starting I mean, what was considered Gen X, now millennials, that in the mid 90s is the first point where they could have started having kids. So they were at the absolute earliest if they were starting early, as teenagers.
Yeah.
Or just got married at 18 and immediately had kids. So you're talking about late generation boomers, kids,
Yeah.
which is what I am.
Participation trophies. Oh my gosh. The worst thing to happen to human society.
Hi, Jen Killington. That's Dimmer, by the way, over there. Dimmer's Wretch, who's joined me on a lot of our Saturday streams. Here I am. Hi.
Has anyone ask your viewers? Is anybody
They can hear
curious
you.
why I choose the name Dimmer?
Yeah, I'm actually curious. Why do you choose the name Dimmer?
I choose the name Dimmer because I am a strong believer that spending your entire life on a computer
Makes you dimmer?
makes your brain dimmer. It dims your mind.
Yeah, that's what you're sticking with that story? Doubling down on that one?
Well, TV doesn't rot your brain. Not anymore. Nobody watches TV.
Well, I mean, no, they just watch it on their devices. People still consume a lot of what would be considered television. They just don't consume it the same way. Like, we don't consume anything over killing Jen Killington because he's not bright.
That's true also.
Well, Jen Killington, yes, he is Canadian and Australian. We'll forgive him.
The two countries that should never, ever, ever breed together. There's a reason why they're separated by so much water.
I thought that was just because the Brits wanted them as far away as possible.
But why did they want them as far away as possible? So that they should never intermingle.
I thought it was just because they were a bunch of criminals. Or is that just part of it?
Yes, that's only half the story.
Only half the story. Jen Killington, what do you mean? Am I on course? Am I out? Am I on orders? Am I on duty? Yes, I am in Germany. I am actually visiting. I'm up in Frankfurt visiting Dimmer and his beautiful wife, who we saw earlier. She does exist. He didn't make her up. So, yeah, he does. He does show up to a rugby game with pads. See, Jen Killington gets it. Yeah, we had this discussion earlier, Jen Killington, all about the differences in rugby.
Ask Jane Killington if he's ever watched the Rugby World Cup.
Have you ever watched the Rugby World Cup, Jen Killington? And speaking of, have you been watching the World Cup? Were you watching any of it while you were up there? Did you? I don't know if you guys really had anything, like, I'm sure you could have got, obviously you had internet because you sent me messages.
Yeah, like with half a megabit per second.
Half a megabit per second. Hey, you could still get a text message in and out.
Half a megabyte per second.
Yes.
It would.
Jen Killington plays rugby.
Plays rugby. Okay. So Gene Killington knows what pool Canada always draws whenever they play in the Rugby World Cup.
Sure he does. He watches both. He watches both the rugby. So who do you think's going to win the World Cup there, Jen Killington?
The same team that always wins the World Cup.
What, Argentina? Brazil? I don't think Brazil's going to win.
No,
And having watched the teams that I've watched so far, I'm not very impressed with any of them.
I'm going for Denmark, actually.
Denmark?
Yeah.
They're a long shot. According to the experts, they're a long shot.
Germany was a favorite. Look what happened to them.
Germany was a favorite until they showed up. Yeah, Germany was great last time.
They've won.
They won last time. Okay, this is not 2014. This is not the same team. Okay? So let's get that on. The team that played Mexico, the team that played Sweden and barely won on the last second, and the team that lost to South Korea of all teams.
Yeah.
That is not the same team that played that won the World Cup while I was here in 2014 when my father-in-law was here. He got to watch that, and watch them celebrate from the top of my house. He was sitting on the roof of my house watching it. France did look good today. I kind of want England to win just because it's been forever, but I don't think they can. No one wants the French to win except French. The French want French.
Quebec wants the French to win.
Well, that's because Quebec still clings to this misgotten idea that they still belong to France. Which, if you gave them the choice, they would rather be just a free Quebec.
Nope, we gave them the choice and they wanted to stay.
See, there you go. But yeah, I kind of want England to win just because it's been forever since they won, and I have a lot of British friends. But honestly, as long as Brazil or Argentina doesn't win, I'm fine, because they always win. Argentina's I think the experts they're picking Argentina to be to win. We don't talk about Quebekistan.
Catherine, do you know which three
Nice,
countries have
Jim
won the World Cup the most?
I do not.
This came up in a trivia question recently.
Oh,
3 countries that have won the World Cup the most. 2 of them are European.
okay.
Germany and Italy.
I was gonna say Germany's got to be one of them because I know of at least 3 they've won.
Yep.
Germany and Italy.
Italy, and Brazil.
Yeah, so Brazil's still in. I don't want Brazil to win.
But Argentina, these are countries whose only international game
The World Cup.
is the World Cup.
So they're like the U.S.
Their players will probably
Except they actually have
literally
players.
literally sacrifice on the altar if they lose.
People take their football very seriously outside of the U.S.
I think some bad things should happen to the German
Oh,
team.
well, Argentina's out. I hadn't actually seen any updates for today. So Portugal is out, Argentina is out. So there goes the expert's favorite. Argentina's not winning it. So on that note, while that's doing it, let me pull up. Do I have it on this iPad? I'm checking something here. 1 second. Editing. Yes, there we go. Do they have 4 stars? I think Germany's won. Has Germany won 4? This would have been their 5th if they got it. Yeah. If. That's a big one there. If they had won. They did not win. At first, when I first heard that, because I didn't watch the game, when I first heard that Mexico beat Germany, I was like, oh, Mexico, impressive. And then I watched Germany play Sweden, and I was not very impressed. So Jim Killington is pulling for Spain and France. France beat Argentina, that's why. And Uruguay knocked off Portugal. And tomorrow we have Spain and Russia and Croatia and Denmark. Oh, that's where my friend is going. My friend's going to Croatia.
I'm pulling for Denmark because France didn't even bother to make the effort in their last game against Denmark, whereas Denmark did, and they won.
Oh, they played easy? France did?
Yeah, they played like princesses.
Oh, so see, what is that? No, that's from the other.
I would have rather,
Sorry, I saw a score that didn't make sense.
I would have rather watched the Canadian cricket team play against England than cheer for.
So you would have rather have watched a slaughter than watch that game with France.
Then yeah, like if you're not gonna play at the level you're supposed to be playing at, what's the point?
Well, some people made the same points about England in the match they played against Belgium.
Yes.
Cats are jerks. Surprised the French haven't given up yet. Going for the easy ones. Cats are jerks. Do you know how a Frenchman says hello? I'll give him a second to answer that one. Some people made that comment about England that they didn't play as hard to win the Belgian game because they wanted an easier draw. But then again, I mean, you have claims like that in every thing. You'd think now with the advent of high definition and the cameras on everything that football players would finally give up on these fake injury things they do, but they still do. That's one way of putting it. I was going to say, cats are jerks, that this is... Hold on, let me pull this cord out of here a second. This is how a Frenchman says hello. I'm going to set the phone somewhere where it'll stay. How many times have the French defended Paris from invasion?
Never.
10-second delay. So there you go, cats are jerks. How many times have the French had to defend Paris from foreign invasion? Did you know that name Paris isn't even that name is actually the name of the original inhabitants of the island that Notre Dame was built on? That the French actually like surrounded them, like it absorbed them in, and then took the name and named it, and they built the church where they did in order to stomp out the the previous religion that was there. So yeah, cats are jerks. How many times have the French defended Paris, or Jim Killington, who knows? They defeated a big wolf once. Have defended Paris. Dimmer, do you know?
Yes.
What's the answer?
Never.
No, we don't know. They've never done it.
They surrendered.
Yeah, the French have never. They just. That's why the hello is we give up.
In the 100-day war, or 100.
There was a 100-day war. There was also a 100-year war.
In the Revolution, it was overtaken. It was never defended.
The French Revolution. Yep.
In the 100-Year War, it was never invaded. World War One.
It was never invaded.
Never invaded.
But it was invaded in World War II.
It was invaded in World War II, but it was never
They
defended.
Yeah, they never defended it.
They surrendered before the Germans reached Paris.
They didn't want the damage to the city.
Yep.
I will look that up later, Jim Killington. He wants me to look up the Wolf of Paris. It's never. After World War II, you have to give up because there have been no major conflicts between the major world powers since. Like that.
There have been lots of major conflicts since the Battle of Orleans to World War One. And I'm just wondering when Paris was the capital.
They've never had to defend it. They've either given up or they've never had to.
Yeah. Because for the longest time the capital was in Versailles.
Mm-hmm.
That's been overrun. That was overrun in the Revolution, and it was overrun.
The Vikings had their fun with them too. You're right. Cats are jerks. You're right.
But
I mean, there's a whole reason that Normandy has the names that it has, and remember that group of people that the Vikings left there, they eventually invaded England. I think was it William? I don't think I remember right now. I'm a little tired. But yep. Oh, have you ever been to Normandy? Dimmer?
No.
I have. It's a very stoic place.
How are the beaches?
Well, it depends on which beach you're talking about.
Are they good?
Some beaches are like public beaches. They're open, so it's like lots of people there. But generally, when you say the words Normandy and beach, you don't think of a pleasant place.
Why not?
Well, because there's an entire section of it that's considered a historical landmark.
Really?
Yes.
What, Omaha or Juneau or
That whole section there.
that whole section?
Yeah. Next to them, there are public beaches that people go on to, but those sections are still they keep on. William the Conqueror. I was right. William, the Norman kings. Yep. Pretty much made England started England on its path to becoming the British Empire. So. Yep. I remembered it. Here's a trivia question. What was the first truly international war? Like world war? Obviously, we have the Great War, which eventually became known as World War I because we have World War II. But what was the first truly global war? Hint: this war is known by two different names depending on where you are, which history you're looking at.
No, it's...
Anyone can answer if you guys. Obviously, there's a bit of a delay for the chat room. Economics.
First international war.
Economics. I like that. I like that answer, Jim Killington. That's a joke. I'm talking. This is an actual recognized war. It has the name war in it.
The Persian War.
Okay.
Or Alexander the Great's conquest.
Okay. Those were limited to Asia.
Asia and Europe and Africa.
But that's only part of the world. I'm talking the first conflict that actually covered the entire globe. And in terms of participation and conflicts.
Japan didn't participate in World War One.
But
it's considered a world war.
yeah, because there were conflicts, naval conflicts all around the world. It involved all but I think one continent, Jim Killington. I don't think there's one continent that I don't think was involved. And no, it's not. I'm not talking about Australia. There is a continent that was not involved in this war I'm talking about. Piracy. That's not war. That's terrorism. The piracy is the reason that because remember, Dimmer, you and I were talking earlier about the active duty forces of the United States military. There's a reason why the Constitution actually includes the Navy in it. That the Navy is allowed to exist all the time, and that's because of piracy.
I can't think of any war aside from World War One.
It has let's put it this way. It has in one of the names. It has a number. Like not like a number. It has a number in it, but it has a measurement of time in it. Not the Boer War.
World War only took place in Africa.
Yeah, but I mean it involved England, so so that involved two continents.
And the War for Independence only involved two continents as well.
Yep. So not the War for Independence. But eventually you had multiple nations taking part in that. But no, that wasn't it.
And
but
the invasion of Canada.
The invasion of Canada.
The invasion of Canada, the invasion of Upper Canada by the United States.
The 100 Years' War only took place in Europe. There was some piracy, elements, some naval elements of it, but for the most part, it involved that was pretty much limited to Europe. And the 100 Years' War that was like one of the last truly religious wars. But you're close, Jen Killington, in terms of a name.
The first truly international.
Truly global war. All wars are international wars.
Global war.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the 30 Years' War, Jim Killington. One of the wars was one of those was the one that was like the last really big religious war. But no, you ready? You ready to give up? The 7 Years' War, also known as the French and Indian War. That one was fought on every continent except for South America, I think, is the one exception.
7-Year War.
It was mostly fought between the French and the British, but it also involved all of their colonies, which spanned the globe. And there were other participants, because you have to include the Native Americans, who were not considered a part of either of those. So there are other elements.
Yeah.
So, and there were other countries that participated at different parts. But yeah, the 7 Years' War was the first truly global war in that conflict circumnavigated the globe. Now, it wasn't to the level of, say, like a World War I or World War II constant conflict all the way around the world, but the 7 Years' War, yes, the British won, I'd say, but there's arguments that the British actually lost, because if you don't have the 7 Years' War, yes, but the Napoleonic Wars came after the 7 Years' War. The Napoleonic Wars came after the French Revolution. The French Revolution happened because of the American Revolution. The American Revolution happened because of the 7 Years' War. Because during the 7 Years' War, the colonists, when the British regulars, their officers and their soldiers came over, a lot of the things that became the big arguing points for the colonies against the throne later in that century became really it became very obvious to the colonists that they were second-class citizens during the French and Indian War. Their officers were not viewed the same way. Their troops were not viewed the same way. the soldier, like people were kicked out of their homes were repossessed, they had their food stuff and their money stolen to pay for the war. Without the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War, the American Revolution may have happened, but it probably would have happened later. And without the American Revolution, you don't have the French Revolution, because the ideas that became like foundational in what became the United States of America were taken back by the French, who helped at the end of the American Revolution. I took a course for my master's degree called the Revolutions. So we studied all the different revolutions, and that was where that one was. That I made the connections, and I later took a course called the 7 Years' War, which is where I studied about how it was a truly global conflict. So, but yeah, you are right, Gene Killington. The Napoleonic Wars covered a lot of the globe, but it wasn't first. The 7 Years' War was, and of course, all of history is subjective. Whoever writes the history is the viewpoint it's written from. Of course, it's extremely subjective. At the time, technically speaking, if you want to go back to the point that Dimmer made, the Persian War and Alexander's Wars covered the entire known world, but they didn't cover the globe, which is why I made that point. The first truly global war. So, but. And now, of course, now I have to ask, do you mean by the subjective viewpoint are you talking about my comment that the 7 Years' War was the first truly global war, or the whole connection between the Napoleonic Wars stemming from the French Revolution, stemming from the American Revolution, stemming from the 7 Years' War? Because, I mean, there's a lot of other factors in there. If you look at the complaints that the colonists had against the crown that became the battle cry of the American Revolution, those complaints started during the French and Indian War and how the colonists were treated. That's the connection, the one connection I'm making, because there's a lot of things that contributed to what started like all those conflicts. There's a lot of other factors going into them, but with the American Revolution connecting it to the French and Indian War, I'm simply the connection there is being drawn from how the colonists were treated by the British regulars, how the colonial soldiers were treated versus the British regulars, how the colonial officers were treated versus the British officers, and the complaints that became like the battle cry of the American Revolution. You can trace a connection between those, and because the French, having lost out during the French and Indian War, obviously they had a vested interest in helping the Americans with their little revolution once it became clear that they could win it. So having their soldiers exposed to some of the same ideas, and remember that Ben Franklin spent some time in France too, so it wasn't just their soldiers being exposed to our soldiers. There's lots of connections. I'm also not touching on any of the factors stemming from the French royalty, the bankruptcy, there's so many other things. The conflict between the church and the state. There are so many other factors that can contribute to the French Revolution. Those are some of the connections you can make. So let's say that's like saying World War I was because of an assassination of a leader in a minor nation. You're right, except it was, because people chose to let that assassination goad them into a fight. They didn't have to. There were so many other factors, so many points where they could have taken a step back and said, you know what, it doesn't really need to be as a conflict like. But again, no one knew World War I was going to become what it was going to become. They thought it was just going to be like the previous wars that happened. What became World War I caught everybody by surprise, but in terms of the type of conflict, the types of weapons that were introduced into that. I mean, part of the problem, and this is an issue that I still have with military leaders in their lack of adaptability to change in conflict. Part of what made World War I such a bloodbath was that the old generals couldn't wrap their brains around new technology like machine guns, Gatling guns, tanks. They eventually took notice of them because it was demonstrated on the battlefield how effective they were. But the Battle of the Somme, I mean, that's one of the bloodiest days in human history. And part of the reason why is because the British general couldn't. I think it was either British or a French general. I'm pretty sure it was a British general that day. Couldn't fathom why their soldiers couldn't just run across the field and take that line, because he wasn't taking into account that the Germans had machine guns on the other side that were able to put out a much higher rate of fire than he believed was possible. Things, like you said, that doesn't mean they're a linchpin. Things become a linchpin when people choose to make it a linchpin. World War I in history is often blamed on the assassination of the prince in Serbia, because the leaders of Europe chose to make that the fiery point. So that's why, like, if you on the test question, the reason it's a test question, what was the start of World War I? The assassination of the prince in the Austrian prince in Serbia. Oh, I think it's a prince. What was he? Archduke? No, it was the Archduke. Archduke Ferdinand. Yeah, Archduke Ferdinand. To do something, and everyone else said, "This is where we're going to draw our line in the sand." I mean, World War II. Technically, it was the invasion of a country, a military invasion of a country, on September 1st, 1939. That was Star Point. But really, the invasion of Europe by Germany started before that. History as seen by Guthron. Ha. This is what happens when I just sit around and talk. These things come out. And I have 2 degrees in history, so I love talking about history. And I love learning about history. I very much love learning things I don't know about history. So, but yes, I like those connections. I like making those connections. They're some of the connections, but like you said, Jen Killington, they are not all of the connections. So, all right. So we've been doing this for an hour and a half. That's a long time. I didn't think we were gonna be on this long, but hey, it's fun, especially when people join in. So thanks for tuning in for this little thing. Jen Killington, you weren't here earlier. I was just gonna say, because I'm here in Germany and I'm living in a hotel. No, they are not. Although one of the universities, unfortunately, was a supporter of him. That said, Jen Killington. So yeah, my internet over here is not as good, so streaming from the hotel is going to be a little bit more complicated. If I succeed in doing it, it's probably going to be at a time that's not good for Western Hemisphere, American Hemisphere viewers. Let's get that straight, because technically we're in the West here. It depends on where you live in
West Germany now.
Yeah, we are in West Germany, but that doesn't exist anymore. I was here when they unified. I remember that. I remember watching the wall come down on TV. So for sure, I'm going to be doing a couple of streams at Dimmer's house that are actual gaming streams. Next time I have my rig all here and everything. Today it was really complicated getting to him. So getting to bringing it all down here this weekend just didn't happen. So next weekend, most likely going to happen. It'll be from here. So it'll be the community stream, so we'll see what we do. And at least one other weekend this month, for sure, we'll do it. From here, we'll be at the normal time, so it'll be 1 o'clock Central. So that's 8 o'clock here. Is that generally when we started? 8 o'clock? Yeah, so 8 o'clock Central European time, 1 o'clock Central US time, because that's normally when it started. But yeah, so, and I may try doing some of these from there to see if this does any better, because this is a lot easier to do. I don't have to do a whole bunch of setup stuff, but we'll see. And maybe I'll actually have a stream just for you, Jen Killington, called History as Seen by Guthron, and I'll go through and I'll have fun with it. So I'm gonna sign off for now. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hold on, we got to do it. It's tradition. Say goodbye, Dimmer.
Goodbye, Dimmer.
So thanks. We'll see you guys next time. End the broadcast. Yes, I want